Welcome back. It's been a little while, but I really did not want to miss the review for this movie. You've heard me mention this in some of my previous reviews. Bring Her Back is the new horror movie directed by former YouTube stars Danny and Michael Philippou turned Hollywood filmmakers. I've been really excited for this movie since first seeing the initial teaser drop. You might have seen Talk to Me. Talk to Me was the first movie, an original horror screenplay done by the directors Danny and Michael Philippou. Critics and audiences really liked it, and so did I. I thought it was great. I think these guys really have a unique eye. They have a very deep love for filmmaking. Everybody says they're great to work with. They're great as directors. They grew up guys that were doing backyard wrestling, doing their own stunts. And you can kind of see the passion they have for screenplay, for writing, and for filmmaking in their movies. And I'm really excited to get into this movie. This movie is very different than Talk to Me, but it still deals with themes of death. And it seems to be a recurring theme here that I think these guys really like exploring is kind of the human emotional experience of loss, grief, trauma. I know a lot of people are talking about that. And you really see that in this movie. The movie stars a brother and sister who essentially their dad passes away and they have to go live with a foster care mother. The girl, Sora Wong, who does a phenomenal job in this, plays the sister. And she's mostly blind. Only really see light and shapes. The brother is very close with her. He's kind of like her main support and caregiver. And you can tell they have a very close bond. But there's a lot more there. You're kind of seeing things unfolding in the story. You're learning more through the character exposition, through the dialogue. There's some flashbacks. The brother opens up to the foster mom, who's played by Sally Hawkins, more about her to come. And you kind of learn that the brother is also dealing with a lot of his own trauma. He was abused by the father, a lot of kind of unresolved trauma from that. And there's some different things that are going on with that are fleshed out in this movie that the villain exploits. Getting more into the plot. So this is not just an ordinary, nice, caring foster lady who wants to take in these two kids out of the goodness of her heart. Very quickly, you start to learn that there is something very off with this lady. And she does a phenomenal job playing this unassuming character who is kind, nice, but also at the flip of a switch will turn into a unnerving psychopath. And Sally Hawkins does an absolute great job. And as great as all the performances are in this movie, I think she is definitely the standout. So not too long into the movie, when the brother and sister arrive at the new foster mom's house, the new lady's house, start getting to know her story. And she also reveals to them that she also had a blind daughter who passed away somewhat recently, and it was in a drowning accident. That's all we really know at first. Also, there's another random kid there, this guy, and he's going by Oliver, or Ollie, she calls him, and he's not really all there. She says that he is selectively mute since the passing of her sister. At least that's what we're told at first. More to come on that. And he's kind of like kept alone, or he's almost like locked inside of his room, and he's not really talking. He's just kind of staring at everybody. So they don't really know what's going on, but everybody's kind of like, hey, this is pretty weird. Whatever. It's our new home. We're going to try to enjoy our time here and go from there. More and more things start happening, and the brother and sister very quickly realize there's a lot of weird stuff going on. They're having weird stuff happen at the house. He's wetting the bed for some reason, and he doesn't know what's going on. The lady is all of a sudden seemingly trying to turn his sister against him, against the brother. But why is she doing that? Well, here's why. You find out that the foster mom is essentially trying to enact some cult demon ritual to put a demon in the soul of a child that she abducted, Oliver, who is something she totally lied about, and then have that demon child partially consume the corpse of her recently deceased daughter, and then that will put her spirit in the body of another child. Enter the new sister, the foster sister, and that's what's going on. So crazy shit, obviously. And they're trying to, the sister has to die in the same way that her daughter died for this to all to work. And that's why none of this was an accident. This was all planned by the foster mom, and it was her evil plan to do this cult demon ritual and try to essentially get her daughter back in another body, but have essentially her daughter's spirit memory in the body of a similar vessel. That's essentially what is going on in this movie. So that was a lot to swallow. No pun intended. And yes, it is a pretty visceral movie. They do a good job with it, though. I don't think it's overly gratuitous. There's really only a couple scenes that are gory scenes, and they are very good. In particular, there was a scene with the knife, and this is going to kind of go down in probably modern movie history as being an infamous, hard to watch, visceral scene. But that was pretty crazy. And these guys are really good at that. Danny and Michael always did a lot of really good fake violence in their YouTube videos. I've seen probably all of them, and I always really like the way that they did fake violence. But they very much have that art form perfected, and I think they're really good at capturing uncomfortable emotion, violence, hard to watch imagery, uncomfortable depictions on screen. They tie that into this movie because at the end of the day, this movie is essentially kind of really asking a basic question. While it may be the most extreme, nonsensical answer, it's saying, what would you really do if there was a chance you could bring back a child that you lost as a parent? Obviously, hopefully, most people would not resort to the cult demon ritual, but again, it's asking the question, what would you do if you really thought and believed there was a way you could bring back your child? And when you're a lonely single parent, you're suffering from crippling grief, that's what this lady does. So that's what this movie's about. And it was very good. All of the main actors did a great job. The brother and sister, Brendan and Sora, they did a phenomenal job. It was actually pretty balanced. I felt everyone had a lot of screen time. Props to the kid who played Oliver Jonah. He was amazing. He doesn't really get to say much. He has to do a lot of physical acting with his face, with his body language, with his eyes. That kid was great. That kid is going places in the horror genre. He was incredible for not even getting to talk. And then again, is Sally Hawkins as the mom. Absolute standout. Phenomenal performance, really huge range of all different emotions. She did a great job. This movie may be a little bit uncomfortable for the average viewer or even people who appreciate horror, but I think it's absolutely worth seeing. Deals with a lot of, serious, relatable human emotions. It talks about grief and loss, and it ties that in a way where you're seeing the story unfold that happens to these two teenagers and what they're going through. I would really recommend going to see Bring Her Back. It's very good, and moreover, I'm really, really happy for these guys, Danny and Michael, and just what they've done. Making the transition from YouTube to Hollywood filmmaker, director is an astronomically difficult thing that an extremely small amount of people have been able to pull off anything like that. And the fact that these guys they're 2 for 2, they've had 2 awesome hits in a row with Talk to Me and now this, I'm really, really excited for them. I'm really excited to see what they do next. I think these guys are quickly emerging at the top of the list of directors of modern original horror. So I'm really excited to see what they do next. That's going to do it for this review. Stay tuned for my next one. Thanks.